Henry VII by Marriott, Edgar. Henry VII of England wasn't out of the royal top drawer. The only connection which he could boast was King's nephew's brother-in-law. It was after the Wars of the Roses that he came to the front, as it were, when on strength of having killed Richard III he put himself up as his heir. 'Twas a bit of a blow to the barons when Henry aspired to the throne, and some who had been nursing imperial hopes started pushing out claims of their own. They didn't get far with their scheming, for as soon as the matter was pressed, a stroke of the pen sent them off to the Tower, where a stroke of the axe did the rest. A fella they called Perkin Warbeck was the one that led Henry a dance. To make sure naught awkward should happen to him, he worked from an office in France. He claimed to be one of the princes who'd been smothered to death in the Tower. His tale was that only his brother had died and he had escaped the sea's hour. Henry knew the appeal of the princes was a strong one for Perkin to make, so he thought he'd best have a chat with the lad and find out the least he would take. In reply to his kind invitation, Perkin said he'd be happy to call, but he'd bring his own escort of 10,000 men and 100 pipers and all. This reply put the king in a passion. He swore that he'd stop Perkin's fun, and he offered a fortune per annum to him who could tell him how this could be done. Then up spoke the bold Lambert Simnel, the king's private scullion he were. He said, "A word in thy ear, O Lord King, I've a plan that'll stop all this here." He took the king up in a corner where no one could hear what they said. He hadn't got far when King started to laugh, and he laughed till he had to be bled. 'Twere a plan to anticipate Perkin by getting in first with these tales, start another rebellion before he arrived, and take the wind right out of his sails. So Lambert Simnel's rebellion made its fateful debut in the north. Experts disagree who he made out to be, John II or Richard IV. 'Twas surprising how many believed him. They flocked to his flag like one man. For in them days folk would do out for a change, and their motto was San Ferian. 'Twas quite a success, his rebellion, till it was routed by Henry at Stoke, and Lambert were taken and made to confess that his parents was working class folk. The public forgave his deception. The thing that made them proper mad was the twopenny increase on everyone's rates to pay for the fun that they'd had. So when Perkin Warbeck came over, expecting his praise to be sung, he was greeted, defeated, then cheated, unseated, maltreated, and finally hung. The baron went back to his castle. The peasant went back to his herd. Lambert Simnel went back to his scullion's job, 'cause Henry went back on his word.